You're listening to TehachaPod with Budge, Corey Costelloe, and Greg Garrett.
I want to welcome everyone back to TehachaPod. Budge, Greg Garrett, Corey Costelloe. We've got lots of great information to share. Gentlemen, thanks for coming back for episode 2.
Absolutely. It's a fun time.
Well, when you get to 2 episodes, the next thing is just the sky's the limit once you get past the first episode, and it's all downhill from here.
Sky's the limit or it's all downhill. That's what we're going to say.
Both are good terms, though. The sky's the limit or it's all downhill. Either way.
There you go.
We haven't jumped the shark yet. That's a good thing.
That's right.
TehachaPod is about Tehachapi, and that's our goal. Is we're talking Tehachapi, the city of Tehachapi, and the greater area, everything that surrounds us as well. So the information we're going to share is hopefully something you can take back. And it's just another way that we're getting the information out to you. We had a city council meeting, and we had lots of exciting things. We filled the council.
We did.
So that was great. So, Greg, let's recap it.
There were probably 50 or 60 people in the audience, which I always enjoy because citizens that want to understand what's going on with their money and their business, quite frankly, is a great thing. But we'll just start with the city council appointment. So there were 4 amazing people that threw their hat in the ring. Steve Hamblin, Kim Nixon, Davin Blaine, and Christina Scrivner. They all came up to the podium and spoke to the council about their background and why they wanted to help and become part of the city council in a positive way. I was so impressed. All 4 of those individuals were amazing people wanting to help us achieve great goals. The council ultimately selected Christina Scrivner, and we're very happy about that. So she was sworn in last night, real time. So she's on the council. Now we have 5. And I know, Key, you talked to Christina earlier today.
I did get a chance to catch up with her and get her thoughts. Why don't we check in with what Christina had to say? Councilmember Christina Scrivner, welcome to the team, and tell me a little bit about this journey for you and what it means to be a part of the council.
Thank you so much. I'm happy to be on the team, and I really view it in that way. I think we have a group of 4 really good-hearted people serving on the city council currently, and I feel humbled to be a part of that team. I think we bring a true diversity in perspectives and industry, experience and age, and value system and political persuasion. I think it's a good group of people with Tehachapi's best interest at heart, and I'm excited to participate in that.
As soon as you were appointed, you were sworn in, seated, and the agenda was off and running. What are the things that you look forward to, or have there things that you've thought about prior to being seated? That had to have a little bit of an emotional impact to go from the audience and then to be seated.
It was exciting, and I was prepared for that. I've done my best to be prepared for this experience in every way that I can. In politics and in this work, there's a lot that's out of your control, but I believe that my goal is to work hard and be diligent, to prepare in every way to serve the community that I love in a very thoughtful and strategic manner. And I believe that's how I have served in my capacity in every company I've worked for. It's the way I try to run my family and, navigate my relationships is with thoughtful care. And I believe that this work deserves that also. So I guess all that to say, it's my job to work hard and understand the issues and be prepared and then take it as it comes, because this is a world that is full of things that will come quickly and develop quickly and need to be responded to. So I'm just, at this point, I have some things to learn, but I think I've demonstrated that I truly love Tehachapi. I love the community where I am working and raising my family, and I have a lot invested because of that. I have 4 small children that will inherit the reality of the vision that the city pursues. And so I have a deep reverence for that reality. And I said last night, and I believe earnestly that I have such admiration for the greatest generation that has done so much work before me and has modeled what it is to give and to be involved because it's the right thing to do. So I bring that value system to this work, but I also have a lot of skin in the game. I have these small children that are counting on me to get it right. So I think that balance is a good perspective.
I think there was 4 people that applied. There was a lot of different backgrounds that were represented. And I know that you paid attention to the other candidates too and what they brought to the table. What you bring to the table is a little bit different, and I think that may be what the council saw. So what are your thoughts on that with the other people that also threw their hat in the ring?
Well, I was really honored that several people in the community came to me and said they thought I should seriously consider this. And, when they said that, I think a lot of that was rooted in two things that were said to me often. And I was humbled by these comments. I think that I have demonstrated a sense of service. And I said last night, it's not an afterthought for me, but it's a way of life. But I also believe I have demonstrated results. I have worked always in an environment where it did not matter how hard I worked, it mattered the results I yielded. And I think you need somebody who has the finesse and the sensitivities to understand it's important how the work is done, but it is not acceptable if the work is not accomplished. And so in my role for both Houchin Blood Bank and for my work here at the hospital, it's not about me just working hard, but it's about my moving the mission forward. And that is the same approach I'll bring to the city.
Well, welcome to the team, and I look forward to working with you.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm happy to be here.
I got to say, getting the opportunity to talk to our newest council member, Christina Scrivner, was very nice. I've known her for about 5 years. When I was working at the Tehachapi News doing some reporting, she was at Houchin Community Blood Bank, getting to work with her in community events. I think she is going to be excited about what she's doing for our community. She's been a part of it, so I think it really rounds out and completes our council.
That's right. She is so excited, over the top excited. She's been a big part of this community. I think she mentioned last night she's lived in Tehachapi for about 10 years now. Prior to that, Ridgecrest, and doing so many great things. Mayor Zach Scrivner, of course, our second district supervisor. Just so everybody knows, we've vetted that. There are no legal issues with that at all. Just get that out right away. She's working at Adventist Health over here in the Capitol Hills area, doing great things with the foundation. So just super excited to have her on our team.
And I think when she took the Adventist Health Foundation job, I mean, really there was no philanthropy department, there was no development department with that hospital, because it was a new group essentially inside of Adventist Health. And I mean, what she's done with the fundraising to get medical equipment, life-saving medical equipment at the hospital, the art, she's partnered with folks that the hospital has almost turned into they're like curators of museums now. They've got art pieces that they're responsible for that she's helped get and just that, which goes to help healing and wellness and all that stuff. So big picture thinker, and really excited to have her on the council, along with all the great things she's doing at the hospital, and then to have that again benefiting the city even more is awesome. We could do a
segment just on the hospital, right? Yeah. The partnership that the healthcare district and Adventist Health brought together with Jeff Lingerfeld's leadership as a CEO locally. That is just amazing things, and Christina is a big part of that, so we're so happy to have her on our team. So second thing on the agenda, there were several things on the agenda, but just a couple notable items I think everybody should take note. Our auditor, and we have many, many auditors, but this is one of the main auditors for our general fund, presented a report last night, and it was a fiscal year 2019 financial report. Clean books. There were no findings at all, which is a good thing. He went through all of the different elements of our budget, and just so happy and so proud of our entire team, including our accounting department, and how they continue to do great things and keep track of the funds that you've entrusted us with. And it's award-winning, right? We won an award recently for financial reporting and our budget process and how we present the budget to the public. So not to be confused with the financial award that we received a couple weeks ago. This is a more recent award. So super excited about that.
Yeah, it is easy. I mean, when I came in a few years back, I mean, I'd seen budgets in other places, but this was one of the easier ones to read and comprehend. And there's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of numbers. But honestly, that was what the award was for the presentation of the budget and how the community can read it, go online, see it, understand it, grasp it, and put it in a way that's kind of easy to package.
You absolutely want that with numbers. It's about it being understood.
I'm not a math guy. I'm telling you right now, I'm not a math guy.
Absolutely. And I think Councilman Davies even mentioned that for him, because he really wanted to study and understand it when he came on board, was that it can be complex if you don't take the time to look at it. And the way Hannah's got her team it's formulated. They check all the boxes for this advanced accounting processes to meet this award. So kudos to our finance department.
For sure. And if you ever have any questions about city finances, call me. Yeah. Come by. Right? We beg people to call us, come by, email. I'll come to you. I want you to understand.
And the budget can be seen on our website. It's available on
budget, financial reports, all that stuff's on the finance department's page of the website. Yeah.
Very good. We have we had another topic that we covered last night at the council meeting, didn't we, Greg? I know we talked about the grant that was received.
Mm-hmm. The last show, yeah.
Yeah, but we had the ordinance that was discussed.
Well, there were several. So we cleaned up and finished the water ordinances. So we did that, and then we came alongside the county of Kern with our building ordinances. So whenever you build in the city of Tehachapi, and we're talking about earthquake, wind loads, snow loads, those sorts of things, American disabilities. So we're in line with the state of California and the county of Kern and their fire department. So we want to make sure that everything is very safe in the city of Tehachapi.
And easy for developers. I mean, not easy. I would say less confusing for developers. You don't want to be just on the other side of the city limits and there's one standard, and then just side the other city limits, the code's different. That doesn't help anybody. So this helps everybody developing in Tehachapi proper or unincorporated to be on the same.
One set of rules. Yeah. Good thing.
Right.
Yeah.
We're all on the same page.
There you go.
For sure.
And I know recently we had a very special visit from our President of the United States. And two members of TehachaPod that are here sitting in front of me had the opportunity. You guys received special invitations. Why don't you talk a little bit about that, the invitation process, and then what it was like to go down there? And I know and then we'll chat about the takeaway.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I was say, well, thankfully, I checked my email on the weekend because that's when it came about. Because this was a last minute deal. What was he here on a Tuesday or something like that? And we got, it might have been a Wednesday, but we had the over the weekend. It's like we need this by Sunday, and so we were able to get that stuff in from Congressman McCarthy. So thank him and Aaron Falk, his field rep, that kind of extended that invite to go to Bakersfield and see President Trump and Kevin McCarthy and Devin Nunes and a lot of folks as he signed that. It was an interesting piece of legislation, and of course it's already going to be challenged in court by the state of California. But what it did is it really just reassessed the environmental standards that the federal government uses to deliver water. They were antiquated. They were outdated as far as the federal government was concerned. The way they monitored, the way and so he basically cut away a lot of federal red tape that the state was using sometimes to limit the flow of water to the Central Valley. And we've been up and down the 5. We've seen the signs, right? Congress created Dust Bowl and all that kind of stuff. That's what he was looking to sort of prevent. He actually, and really there's been a relationship between the governor and the president that hasn't been necessarily amicable, but in that, it really was an opportunity where they invited the state of California, come, let's work with us on this. So we'll see. It wasn't responded to very well, but the farmers were certainly happy. And I think this will lay the groundwork. I think there will be some sort of compromise between the state and feds. So anyway, that was really the basis of that whole visit, was to help the farmers and deliver water. It was not a political rally. It was a official state visit. It was run by the White House. It was not run by the Trump campaign. It was run by the White House. And so, Air Force One landed and all that good stuff. We got to see it take off, leaving the event, which was kind of cool. That thing gets up quick for a big plane.
Right. Yeah. For me, it was exciting to receive the call and then to get an email from the White House. That was pretty cool. Mm-hmm. And then to go down there. But more importantly, it's all about the water, right? The state of California has been struggling with this delta and the California aqueduct and droughts and all of the uncertainties. Sounds like I'm talking about PSPS, right? We're better than all of these uncertainties, kind of a third world type situation. And we don't ever want the TehachaPod to become a political forum, for sure. But it's no secret that we need to fix our water system. And for the federal government to peel back the onions on all of their bureaucracy and create a system where the state of California could, in fact, on the federal lands, use the federal water to deliver to farmers in the Central Valley, how could we go wrong? But the state of California, a day after, 2 days later, 48 hours later, filed lawsuit.
Yeah.
It's government fighting government. That's just a bad use of funds and time and energy, and that's why people hate government, right? Because we can't get along.
Using the onions was a good metaphor, by the way.
Oh,
talking about agriculture,
right.
Well played.
Hey, I'm good at
well
this,
played.
Right? I should be a DJ.
But we can set up our next kind of piece of audio. So we're in the car a lot. I mean, we go to things like this, and we tend to debrief a lot in the car rides. So the group, it was myself and Greg and Jay Schlosser, a Development Services Director, and Mayor Susan Wiggins that were all on this trip. And so we get the chance to talk about it. So all these events we go to, we decompress and debrief in the car. So we thought, might as well make a podcast segment out of our sort of instant reaction.
And I've been saying for years, the best conference room that I have at the city of Tehachapi is my car, because I have a captive audience and we can really talk about things and solve problems at the city and discuss bigger issues like this water issue too, and we debrief. So we've got some sound on that.
Why don't we go ahead and check in and see what the takeaway was from the presidential visit to Bakersfield. I'm interested to see what your instant takeaway was.
All right, TehachaPod instant reaction, returning from a visit with President Donald Trump, thanks to Congressman Kevin McCarthy, Minority Leader. It's Cory Costelloe, Mayor Susan Wiggins, Development Service Director Jay Schlosser, and City Manager Greg Garrett. And so, anyway, basically, the floor is open. What did everybody think about what we all saw here in Bakersfield as we head back up to Tehachapi?
I thought it was fascinating to be able to watch how something like that unfolds, and to see all the people. That we all stood. We waited for a long time, and people. We made friends. We made new friends.
Yeah.
We talked to people, and we did have an enjoyable time. And Trump was upbeat and supportive of California.
Well, there are a couple things, I think. This is Greg. A couple things I was thinking of. And one is the organization. What does it take to get the President of the United States, the leader of the free world, into Bakersfield, into a hangar full of people, right? The logistics and all of that. So super impressed with that. But even more so, the water bill that was signed today, that is an epic achievement for the federal government to peel back the layers of the onion and to understand better management of our water here in this great state of California and allow the farmers in the San Joaquin Valley the ability to deliver more water, to produce more food locally and for the world, quite frankly. And all the supporters there, it was pretty crazy. You know, the President of the United States, no matter if you're Democrat or Republican, it was quite the event, and I'm honored that I was able to, I was invited and I was able to go and participate in that.
Jay Schlosser here. For me, it was an intense event. I mean, we stood there for hours. It got pretty hot where we were
Jay
standing.
took a nap on his feet.
Yeah, I took a nap on my feet.
Took a nap on his feet. That's the impressive feat.
Yeah. For me, I think that the interesting thing was the challenge he sort of put to the governor over the course of his speech.
Absolutely.
I mean, because, having been a lifelong, Central Valley guy, I grew up in the Bakersfield area. I went to college up in the northern section of the valley, and then living in Tehachapi now. This is my home, and frankly, it feels like politically the Central Valley has been ignored by Sacramento, or frankly disdained by Sacramento for a lot of years. And so, this move on his part to sort of interject the federal government, it's an interesting move politically, and he certainly called out Governor Newsom and asked him to kind of be a partner with the Central Valley, but then basically said that if he wasn't willing to, the federal government was going to continue to push on him. And, it would sure be nice to have Sacramento, pay attention to the fact that they've got millions of people live in this valley. They may not all vote for him, but that doesn't mean we're not human beings that have our jobs and our lives and our, again, in my case, growing up in this area, and this is my home. And so it'd sure be nice to have Sacramento to think about us from time to time.
And I think we're being more represented in the city of Tehachapi, in the county of Kern, in this great state. I think people are starting to take note of who we are, what are we doing. We continue to work hard and deliver whatever that product may be, whether it's food or renewables or mining or aviation. We just continue to work hard and deliver products, and that does not go unnoticed.
Well, it looks like from what I've seen, the governor's already threatened to sue over what was signed today. But again, I mean, the president pointed out in his speech, we've won. He's won. Every time he's been sued by the state of California, so far he's prevailed. So this thing could get tied up in courts a little bit, but I think just the fact that it was done, the science was done behind it, the studies, this thing probably ends up maybe going through court, but in the end of the day, will probably end up benefiting California in one way or the other.
And certain levels of government have forgotten that they serve the people. And we need to remember that and continue to work for the people.
That's absolutely true.
Yeah, so great turnout. I mean, there was several thousand people crammed inside an oven of a hangar.
Yeah.
Got a little warm.
And it was locked down. The secret service was locked down.
Yeah.
The fire marshal was probably freaking out. I'm sure.
Yeah. It was great, though. I mean, thought Congressman McCarthy and Devin Nunes and they even have Dave DeValadeo on the stage who's running to get his seat back. Yeah, I mean, I think there was a lot of Tom McClintock was on stage, a lot of folks that I think the president referred to as water warriors that have done a lot of work to get this pushed through. And then I thought the farmers they brought on stage were fantastic.
They knocked it out of the park with their speeches, honestly. Yeah. And the secretary was
the
Interior. He was a great speaker, and the points that he made were just right on point.
Yeah.
Well, so I think overall great experience. Like we said, kind of a long day, a lot of logistics involved, a lot of Secret Service involved. But I think the president's off to his next stop, and it was great that Congressman McCarthy brought him here to the Central Valley in Kern County. So.
And we're on our way back up the hill on Highway 58 eastbound, behind like 20 trucks. We're going like 10 miles an hour. Wish we could get a couple climbing lanes, right? Sacramento, help us out.
Nice, yeah.
That's a whole nother show.
That's a whole nother show. We've got a lot to say about that.
As you get cut off by a big rig.
As I get cut off by a big rig, and I'm not holding the mic. I'm driving.
Yeah.
We're all safe, but
perfect.
Pretty bad thing.
Perfect way to end.
So the trip was a success. You guys were there for a long time.
Long time. I think that's actually where I got sick.
It could have been.
I've been having a terrible cold.
Yeah,
standing in those close quarters.
Well, and you got to think too. I mean, you got to remember when the wheels on the ground in Air Force One, they shut the hangar, so we were locked in a big hangar, but still a hangar. And it got very stuffy, and all of a sudden it got really tight because it's security protocol. Once the president's on the ground, it goes into full lockdown until he leaves, wheels up too. So he had to actually be in Air Force One, not quite wheels up, but be in and secure. So that made for an interesting sort of.
It did. We made several friends.
Yes, we
all
did.
Trump supporters. That's for sure. So, but it was a great time.
Yeah.
I mean, to be in the room with the President of the United States, the Secret Service, all of our local congressmen, senators, assembly members, and the farmers, the lifeblood of the Central Valley. Yeah. It was quite exciting.
That was my first time in the presence of a president, a sitting president. I'd done some presidential campaign coverage. So when John McCain ran a couple times, and then the 2008 Republican convention when he was running with Sarah Palin, I was there, and I was in the West Wing one time, but didn't meet George Bush. I was in the press secretary's office, and they knocked on the door and said it was time for a strategery meeting, which was George Bush's word for strategy, and they actually ran with it. So they'd say, hey, Tony Snow was a press secretary at the time, and he was a friend of ours, and he said, strategery meeting in 10 minutes, Tony. So that was our cue to get out. But I knew the president was like 2 doors down, but I didn't get a chance to meet him and be in his presence. But
I had the opportunity 30 years ago to be in an event that President H.W. Bush was at. I know we had to be in place, and this was a law enforcement event at a law enforcement facility, but we had to be in place about an hour and a half prior to his arrival.
Yeah.
And this was an outdoor venue, but it was still highly secured. And all of a sudden you see Marine One come in. It's boom, drops in. The president comes out with his entourage and the security team, goes up, give his 10 minutes of whatever he's there to talk about. Back to Marine One, it flies away, and then you're still there until the Secret Service says, hey, it's time to... You can start to head on out. But
when President Obama came to the Chavez Center to declare it a national monument, they brought Marine One into the Tehachapi Airport. The president didn't come to Tehachapi Airport, but it was there in case they needed to extract him. Yeah. So that was pretty exciting. And then when I was a kid, Ronald Reagan and Prince Charles actually were out at Edwards Air Force Base, and I got to be in the same area when the shuttle was doing some testing and landing. So that was pretty exciting.
Yeah. It was a great experience, and really it was an official state visit, really. So anytime we get to be a part of that, it was only 3,000 or so people invited to be there, and then there was several thousand more outside. I mean, Bakersfield loves a presidential visit. You know, I remember when George W. Bush came to town, it was the same thing, a lining Airport Drive of, you know, American flags.
Oh, there were
and
people handing out
RVs.
Trump hats.
I'm gonna tell you,
flags.
you gotta love a good
crazy.
capitalist. There were people selling, like, you thought you were at a football game and they were hawking souvenirs. I mean, they were Trump shirts and hats, and I'm like, you know what? God bless America and the capitalists who are saying, I see an opportunity here.
There you go.
Absolutely. So I know that we're going to probably start to close up this episode of TehachaPod, but I know we've got some things that are coming up that we want to look forward to. Corey, you were involved in our July 4th celebration, getting it knocked down, and we've already gone to council with that. Can you tell folks what they're going to be looking forward to on July 4th?
Yeah, I mean, we're getting ready. We're starting to do all the legwork now for the All-American 4th of July Festival. You know, getting sponsors on board, and vendors are already. The great news is vendors are coming to us now saying, you know, I've always been a part of this. I want to be a part of it again. So that makes the job a little easier. But yeah, we partnered with Zambelli Fireworks for the fireworks show this year, and they're excited. They're pretty local. They're out of Shafter, and they're getting bringing up a technician from there who's excited to put together. The show looks fantastic. Really excited about what's on the list, and I've told Greg this before. Like, this was my biggest event when I was a kid. When I was a kid in Tehachapi, we used to fit on Imhoff Field, which is adjacent now to what is Saracoso Community College. I mean, the whole town would fit on that field. I mean, city, outside the area, it didn't matter. And they literally shot the fireworks above your head. How that was safe, I don't know. And so it was a big deal. Like, it was a big community event. And so now to be, you know, a grown adult and sort of be in charge of the fireworks, like, I love it because I want to make it a great show every year because it was such important for me as a kid. I know there's a bunch of kids out there that hopefully feel the same way. So it's fun. It's one of those, you know, point of pride events for me. And I'm looking forward to it as we get it ready to go.
Yeah, I'm excited about it. The weather's starting to warm up. I know we're talking to summer, but people need to start making plans and knowing that
quick, yeah.
July 4th, we're going to do it up once again right here in town.
Yeah.
And people should look forward to it.
Yeah.
That's right.
You know, we've got First Fridays kicking off, you know, with our arts downtown. Downtown is so revitalized and just a great place to go. You go to downtowns anywhere else and it's kind of a different story.
Yeah.
And it's really exciting to see this. So the first Friday every month downtown.
We've been meeting about farmers market. They're getting ready to kick off in May. We just had a nice meeting with the Main Street folks. They've got some great plans. We've got some plans as well to help out their event and run smoother. So I'm looking forward to the farmers market gets going in May. And, you know, there's always a few that are great weather. At least early on, there's always a few that are, you know, tropical storms that those folks weather through. But it's a great event, and they've already got amazing vendor response, and that'll start in May.
And can you believe it's been 10 years since the depot was rebuilt? So
Yeah.
this summer on June 13th, Friends of the Depot are going to have a 10-year anniversary celebration downtown. So we would invite, that's a little ways out there.
Yeah.
But we have so many things going on, you know, the Apple Festival, the Mountain Festival, the Kingpin Ride. It's the biggie. And then we have a lot of projects too, Key. We have a lot of construction projects coming this summer. And I think maybe we want to do a podcast and grab our engineering and public works department and talk about all the different things that are happening in and around town this spring summer season.
That is absolutely one of the things that is critical here. The timing with weather. Mm-hmm. We've got the rail corridor already kicking off. I watched how much concrete this crew was laying today. They're doing it very quickly. So we're going to see some beautiful improvements on the north side of the tracks. So we've got a lot of exciting things to talk about. We'll do that in future episodes of TehachaPod. And I just want to thank everyone for joining us.
And that's why it's important to subscribe to TehachaPod. So as we get the show in the appropriate channels, your Apple Podcasts, your Google, your Spotify, make sure you subscribe to the show. That way you don't have to go find it, and it'll come to your phone, and you'll be able to stay up to date on the events and all the stuff we got going on. And so, cheap subscription plug, but I'm going to let you know you need to subscribe because there's nothing better than just get in your car in the morning and your phone gives you the alert. There's a new episode of TehachaPod, and then off and running you go.
And Key Budge is our host, and Greg and Corey may or may not be here every time. We have so many people that we could interview, and
yeah.
You know, we're just so excited about this.
And that's the one thing is we can go in a lot of different directions. Mm-hmm. It's great information. We'd love to have the feedback. We invite the emails to media@TehachapiCityHall.com, and we can answer questions or maybe pick a topic.
Or give us a story idea. I mean,
right.
If you know about the best ideas always come from somebody. I know a guy who blank. I mean, Greg wrote a city manager memo recently about going to see the president, and then the next day we had coffee with the mayor, which is going to be another show coming up, and we talked to the bee man, who is going to get Greg in a bee suit, and we're going to podcast that episode, believe me. But we talked to the next day we go from the president to the bee man, and they're both fascinating. And so anyway, that's just, those stories are out there that we encourage folks to give them to us too, in case we just miss them.
We want your participation. So thank you, Tehachapi, and we look forward to seeing you again on a future episode of TehachaPod.
TehachaPod is a conversation about Tehachapi designed for the people who live here or who would like to know more about this mountaintop community. If you have a question you would like answered, email media@tehachapicityhall.com. We will try to answer it on a future episode of TehachaPod.